start हुई है श्रेया, 1 मिनट
Okay.
प्लीज.
A very good morning and a warm welcome to our Honorable Principal Ma'am, Mrs. Asha Prabhakar, Principals of our sister concerns, Vice Principal Ma'am, Headmistresses, and our teaching fraternity. There couldn't have been a better time than this to be talking of disaster preparedness and first aid, when the entire world is reeling under the COVID fear. And more lately, its mutations, and of course, the bird flu, which too is a matter of great concern. So this is a good enough reason to take this topic as the theme of today's webinar. Well, me, K. Shreya, TGT Social Science, and my colleague, Mrs. Vidhi Oberoi, TGT Science, will together take you through this session on emergency preparedness and first aid. Abraham Lincoln had once quoted that you cannot escape the responsibility of tomorrow by evading it today. So apt and so true. So there is a small step towards making safety our number one priority. The Hippocratic Oath. I hope you've heard about this oath. The Hippocratic Oath is actually the oath which the doctors take upon their graduation. And it actually talks about two things: either help or do not harm the patient. Meaning thereby that you don't have to act as a hero if you are not confident, but instead try calling for medical help at the earliest. Now, when we talk about the first aid, it dates back to the Mahabharata period as well, and has a mention in the ancient Hindu scriptures when Lord Krishna provided first aid to Sudama on his visit to Dwarka, cleaning his feet and applying cream on his blisters. So not only the Mahabharata times, even in the prehistoric period, the prehistoric man was also fully aware of the illnesses and injuries. He did know that by simply plugging in an open wound, it would actually stop bleeding. And by just lashing a tree branch under his broken leg, it could actually help him hobble around and would also help in the healing process. So after a brief historical background of first aid, now let me take you to some of the insane and deadliest fires and related hazards in the last few decades. 2019, Anaj Mandi fire tragedy, Delhi. 43 people died, and with the help of 150 firefighters, the fire was doused in 4 hours. 2019 again, Surat fire. 22 killed in coaching center blaze. Horrific visuals show kids falling off burning buildings. 2004, Kumbakonam school fire, Tamil Nadu. 94 children lost their lives. 1997, Upar fire tragedy, Delhi. Left 59 dead, mostly due to suffocation cause of being trapped inside. Their kith and kin are still fighting their legal battles. And the list is endless. Now let us look into some possible causes that triggered these disasters. Number 1, lack of open space. Number 2, closely located classrooms. Number 3, small exit gate. Number 4, makeshift thatched roofs. Number 5, freely hanging loose wires and exposed wires. Number 6, lack of ventilation. Number 7, no fire extinguishers and sand buckets. Number 8, no fire safety norms. And to top it all, no disaster management plans. It seemed as if these places were actually waiting for a tragedy to happen. and we have all come here to be martyred. Do not think because an accident has never happened to you, it can actually never happen. Let me tell you, carefulness costs nothing. Safety isn't expensive, it's priceless, and is everyone's responsibility. A safer you is a safer me. Remember this always. So basically, in order to promote this culture of safety and security, we are indeed grateful to CBSE, who has taken this initiative to make the FAST app available to all students and teachers. Now, what is this FAST app all about? The NDMA, National Disaster Management Authority, in collaboration with the Red Cross Society, has developed a first aid mobile app called as FAST. It's an acronym to First Aid for Students and Teachers. This mobile app has elaborately listed life-saving skills, emergency numbers. Now, the ones who've already downloaded this app may just go through it one by one. The various things that we see on this app. It has acronyms for better retention and implementation, and finally, do's and don'ts for disaster preparedness. And this app will surely help in dealing with emergency situations inside or outside schools. The link to access the FAST app has already been shared in the chat box, and along with the Meet link, the app link was also there. So for those of you who still haven't downloaded, may do so right now, so that in case you get stuck up somewhere, we are there to help you out. Now, this is the picture of the app, what the app looks like. You can have a look at the picture. When you press the app, there are two options which appear: students and parents and teachers. So when we press the first option, students, we have a very colorful kind of a screen appearing with almost 42 different signs and symbols, which cover topics like air pollution, amputation, allergy, bleeding, burns, and so on. So I'll quickly tell you how and what information is actually there in this particular app about each of these topics. So basically, each of the topics, let us take air pollution, for instance. It has been covered under three topics or three kind of questions related to each of the topic mentioned here: what to do, why to do, and how to do. Now, since we are talking about air pollution, you can just press upon air pollution and you have three options appearing on your screen: what to do. So what to do in case of air pollution? I think we are all aware of it. We need to stay indoors. We need to wear masks. We need to have good immunity and healthy habits. Why to do? Can somebody quickly write it down in the chat box? Why to do this? I think it's a simple answer: just to remain healthy and protected. Now, how to do? So how can we protect ourselves from air pollution? Basically by consuming seasonal fruits and vegetables, having a lot of water, and also by staying indoors. So these are some certain things which we are all aware of. So after this particular option, we move on to the next option, parents and teachers. So when we press upon the parents and teachers option, we'll see 6 topics appearing on the screen. Number 1, first aid topics. First aid topics mentioned here are almost the same that we've covered under the student option. Then we have call by ambulance numbers and emergency numbers being displayed. Now here, dear teachers, I would like to emphasize on one thing, that it is actually our moral and a social responsibility to ensure that all these emergency numbers are actually displayed very prominently within our school premises. And they are, if you just have a look around, you will see the numbers being prominently displayed. Now, apart from this particular topic that you press upon on parents and students, the last option that you come across are the do's and don'ts for disaster. Do's and don'ts. Okay, now since we happen to lie, you can have a look at the screen about the numbers, emergency numbers, then the options, and then we come on to the do's and don'ts in the case of disaster. And since our school happens to lie in zone 4, a high risk zone, so we'll mostly be talking about earthquakes and fires. Now to begin with earthquakes, before we go on to discussing the do's and don'ts, I request Sheetal ma'am to kindly play the video, please.
In this video, you will learn how to protect yourself and how to behave properly during an earthquake. An earthquake is one or multiple series of vibrations on the ground that can cause serious damage to persons and property. During an earthquake, do not run away. Falling objects represent a danger. If you're inside, take shelter under a sturdy piece of furniture or in the corner of a wall. Stay away from windows and mirrors. Do not face them. Cover your head and neck. If you're outside, stay away from buildings and everything that could collapse. If you're driving, pull up your car at a safe distance from everything that could fall down. Stay inside your car until the earthquake is over. After the earthquake, be careful, there might be aftershocks. Listen to the radio for safety instructions. Close the water and gas inlet taps. Open windows and doors in the event of a gas leak. Leave the building. Don't use an elevator. Make your way to an open space. Eventually, head for a meeting point. Take your personal documents, warm clothes, and essential medication with you. Walk in the middle of the road and pay attention to falling objects. Don't smoke and don't light candles because of an explosion risk. Don't touch falling power lines. Don't make phone calls in order not to congest the telephone network. School children are taken care of at school. It is dangerous and not necessary to pick them up. Block access to damaged buildings. Stay away from coastal areas as there may be a risk of a tsunami. Make sure that your neighbors, especially if they're old or handicapped, do not need help. How to address the risk. Familiarize yourself with possible natural catastrophes in your country and safeguard measures. Arrange a meeting point for your family. Prioritize earthquake-resistant house constructions. Select your shelter areas. Store dangerous items properly in order to prevent them from falling. Secure devices and heavy pieces of furniture. Prepare your emergency disaster kit and first aid kit.
Okay, so those were some do's and don'ts that we need to keep in mind. Okay, but here we've got to remember that in case the evacuation becomes impossible, then our children must be taught about the drop, cover, and hold technique. Drop is when you just go under your table, take shelter under the table, cover your head. Once you're under the table, you cover your head with one of your hands, and with the help of the other hand, you try to hold the leg of the table. So this is very important, which we need to teach our children. Now we move on to the next disaster, fire. The picture that you see on screen, what to do during a fire: stop, drop, and roll. This is when our clothes are on fire. When our clothes are set on fire, we should avoid running. We have to stop because that would actually cut off the oxygen supply. Dropping to the surface and rolling can again make the fire douse. Now, some more do's and don'ts listed in the event of a fire. If possible, shut all doors behind you and be alert. Proceed along the corridors and through exits in a quiet and orderly manner. Keep a safe gap between you and the building when you exit. When you are opening the closed door, feel it with the back of your hand. If it is hot, leave it closed and use some other alternative exit route. And if it feels normal, brace your body against the door and move out. During a building fire, do not use elevator. That is something very, very important to be kept in mind. Do not push or jostle. Do not enter the building again until the fire department permits you. Do not crowd the fire accident area because it becomes a problem, maybe a problem for the firefighters. And never, the most important point to be remembered here is that do not stand up when the building is on fire. Because if you try standing and if you try to run up on the top floors, the smoke tends to rise and the impact of the smoke would be more. So it's always advisable that you lie on the ground or crawl on the ground, and if possible, try to cover your mouth with a wet cloth, because a wet cloth can always dissolve the gases, the poisonous gases, and thus comparatively we would be safe. Now we go on to the evacuation emergency drills. We've been conducting these drills on a yearly basis, but so most of us know about the modus operandi, how to go about with these drills, but there are certain loopholes which have been identified while we conduct these drills. Number one, first of all, we've got to follow and use the nearest exit to our classrooms. But before we use the exit plan has to be prepared in such a manner that the exits don't get crowded up. Like, for example, in our school building, we have around 4 to 5 exits per floor. So if we just try to focus on one exit and we ask children to just move out from one exit, then it would get too crowded and there would be a fear of stampede. So while planning the exit plan, making the exit plan, make sure that the distribution of the children is equal so that one particular exit doesn't get crowded up. Always try to ensure the children move in lines of 2. They are quick, they are alert, they don't talk while moving, and while descending down and while reaching the ground, they have to position themselves at least 30 feet away from the building. Why 30 feet away? Because if the building falls down, the debris don't harm our children. And another thing, it shouldn't take more than 4 minutes to complete one drill, because that is the time actually a building takes to finally collapse. So we've been given this time by the experts that the building needs to be evacuated within a period of 4 minutes. And lastly, head counts is a must. Once the children reach the ground, it's the duty, responsibility of the class teacher to ensure, or the subject teacher, whosoever is accompanying the class, to count the number of children, to take the head counts, and in case there are some missing children, it has to be reported to the response agency. Yes, and we have to learn to patiently wait for further instructions if we can actually join our classes, go back, enter the building or not. So basically, 2 things to be kept here: to follow the drill in all earnestness and also not to panic. Very, very important. Now, Good Samaritan law. Now, in the year 2016, if we happen to see this app, if we've already downloaded it, it mentions about a Good Samaritan law. Now, what is this law about? But before we go on to the law, who is a Good Samaritan? A person who, in good faith, without any expectations of rewards or payments, volunteers to administer immediate assistance to the injured. The Good Samaritan law came into existence in the year 2016 to provide legal protection to the bystanders who came to the rescue of the victim. And I'm sure Each one of us has done this in some way, and we promise ourselves never to stop to brighter a stranger's day. Now, we are sharing this video clip of an earthquake combatant amidst us, who willingly agreed to share her experience of that fateful day. Thank you, Rachna ma'am, for the same. I request Sheetal ma'am to play the video, please.
They say that sometimes life throws a curveball at you of disastrous proportions. Hello, I'm Rachna Soni, and I'm here to share that kind of an experience with all of you. On 26 January 2001, my day began a little late. It was a holiday, and I had just started working 6 months back after a long hiatus. My daughter was 7 years old, and my son was a little over 3, but still in bed, and I was in the kitchen planning what to make for breakfast. And that is the time when it struck. The great earthquake that near flattened Bhuj wasn't very kind to the skyscrapers of Ahmedabad either. Those 2 minutes of stark terror as the sound of iron beams, columns, bricks, mortars, beams, columns, all these things, clanging against each other, making such a loud noise, along with the Jai Mata Di chants of people who were running alongside me as we rushed down 6 flights of staircase. That was an experience that I don't think that I'm going to forget in a long time. My focus at that time was only of my daughter, whose distance from me, and my son, who was in my arms, and that distance was ever widening. And my only thought was that if ever, God forbid, the building falls, then we should not be stuck in different portions. We should be under the debris at the same portion. Horrible thought, I know. It was only later that we were told that the staircase was actually the worst possible place to be in while the earthquake was going on. And a 10-story building took a swing 1.25 feet on one side and then onto the other. Along with that, we also witnessed a crest and the drop wave effect on the completely concretized surface of the society. Never in my wildest of dreams do I ever wish to bear witness to a disaster of such horrifying magnitude. Thank you.
Thank you, Rachna ma'am.
They say that
The aftermath, I know, can be marked by feelings of loss, fear, panic, grief, guilt, and so on. So at this point, it becomes very important to maintain social connections with friends and family, and to fight the urge to isolate oneself. We humans have the tendency to underestimate ourselves. Once we realize our strength and choose our weapons wisely to fight the battle, then believe me, nothing can stop us. Now, dear teachers, just to check how prepared we all are and to check your awareness about the emergency preparedness measures, there's this Google form link being shared with you all in the chat box. I request you all to just attempt these MCQ questions and forward it to us. And with this, I request Vidhi ma'am to continue with the remaining part of the session. Thank you.
Thank you, Shreya. Very good afternoon to everyone. First, investigation, relief, symptom, treatment, arrangement, immediately disposal. Are you familiar with this term? Yes, it is first aid. First aid is an important tool in quickly responding to accidents to ensure that injuries can be efficiently and promptly dealt with before a trained medical professional arrives to administer more specialized treatment. Basic principles of first aid are to preserve life, prevent deterioration, promote recovery. The first respondents can play a vital role in saving lives but they are not doctors or nurses. They are you and me. So ensure that you are calm. Call for help. Even unknown passerbys can be called. If you don't know them, just say, "Excuse me, sir," with white shirt. Make sure the victim is safe and you are also safe while giving first aid. For example, if you are helping a fire or electric shock victim, ensure you are not in the line of fire or electricity. Of course, you are a hero trying to save a precious life, but don't attempt to be a hero. Like it is shown in Hindi movies, a snake bites the heroine and hero sucks the poison. In fact, the small cuts in your buccal cavity will make poison go faster into your bloodstream. Always be careful. Use a clean handkerchief or mask to prevent infections to transmit. Remember not to give medicine. Never ever declare death. Golden rule of first aid is to be kind and calm. Avoid risks. Deal quickly with chaos and cope with the situation. Assess what you can do. Do the best you can do quickly and efficiently. Otherwise, do not do anything. Don't do any harm. Be it home or in your class, you have to be alert and take charge immediately. Remain calm. Make sure that the children don't panic. Attend to the injured child and get help as soon as possible. Everyone in the class, each child in the class must know where the first aid box is located. It must not be in a locked cupboard. Clear the area. Do not let children surround the injured child. Do not pull or move. Wait for the stretcher to be brought. First aid and safety protocol have been discussed and published on school website. All staff members are time and again trained to deliver first aid. A qualified staff nurse, along with school doctor, is always available in the sick bay. If a student becomes unwell, the staff member will assess the child and call for staff nurse. The decision will be made by the doctor as to whether the child is fit for school, requires further medical assessment, or needs to go home. If child needs to be sent back home, staff will inform the respective reporting officer and the parent will be contacted. Please remember, the child would be cared for and made comfortable by the attending staff in the sick bay. If immediate treatment is deemed necessary, the parent would be asked to meet the student and teacher in charge at Kailash Hospital, Noida. In school almanac, we have a medical data form. Take it as your top priority to get it filled and pay attention to the details. Class teachers must inform subject teachers about special medical cases, if any, especially swimming coaches, physical education staff, they must be kept informed about inhaler of an asthmatic child or the special need of a diabetic child or any epilepsy episode that must have happened in your presence. Effective communication and timely action is desired in the school. From a minor ailment to a more serious injury, first aid kit will come handy to deal with situations and have been provided at each floor, labs, buses, and they are checked and replenished on a regular basis by the staff nurse. In case it has been used, please take it as your priority to inform them so that required box is always ready and should be handy with you. According to Government of India's National Health Portal, a first aid kit along with medical supplies should contain emergency telephone numbers. As already discussed by Shreya, memorize the important numbers. Also, write it down on a piece of paper and put it where everyone in your family or classroom can see. Let's check these statements and tell me in the chat box, or you can unmute, whether the statements that I have written are true practices, they are right or they are wrong. The first statement is, after an accident, immediately move the victim to a comfortable position. Is it right or no? Please, you can speak also and write also. After an accident, should we immediately move the victim?
True.
No, ma'am. We should never ever try that. If a person is bleeding, use a tourniquet. Should we tie it very tightly to stop bleeding? Again, it is a false statement. Actually, you can cause tissue damage, permanent tissue damage, if you try cut off the blood supply to the injured area. Signs of heart attack may include shortness of breath, anxiety, and perspiration. Can it be a warning signal to us? Yes. Yes, Asha ma'am, Kamna, you are very right. All burns can be treated with first aid alone. No emergency medical attention is necessary. Here comes again my point. You have to assess the situation. You are very right. Coming next to a very important aspect, CPR. It plays a core role in first aid. Quick application is crucial. Correct knowledge, staying composed under pressure is highly beneficial. But if you don't know it, do not attempt doing it. If you ever encounter a situation involving life or death, the first thing is to check, call, and care. Tap the person's shoulders. Check for signs of breathing. Give chest compressions. If all of a sudden the person takes a breath, this doesn't mean the person is conscious. In fact, this is a sign of cardiac arrest. Heart has stopped beating. Call for help. Don't waste time. Minutes here can make a difference. In India also, emergency drones, which are drone ambulances, can be called. Your timely action can save a life. Please see this video. And yes, minutes can make a difference.
Operator, what is your emergency?
It's my dad. I think he had a heart attack. Please help. He's not breathing anymore.
Please stay calm. What's your name?
Joanna.
Good. Joanna, we've got your location. The ambulance drone is on its way. Remove his top shirt to uncover his torso.
Okay.
Great. Can you go to the nearest exit? The ambulance drone is almost there.
Okay. I'm outside.
I'll be talking through the drone now, so you can put down the phone. Now please pick up the drone and bring it to your father. You're doing great. Okay, pull the green lid. Now place the pads on your father's chest. Good, I can see that the pads are properly applied. Joanna, please stay clear of your father. We'll take it from here.
Yes, minutes here are important. They can save a life. Next, in case of electric shock, do not do anything. Lay the victim down. Cover his body, raise feet, call for doctor. Do not attempt to give water, milk, etc. Another case may be person has fainted, maybe he's sweating badly, complains of blurred vision, nausea, ringing in the ears. Lay the person flat on the ground. Avoid crowding, elevate the legs, call the doctor. Time and again, I am repeating call a doctor because the first respondent is not ever trying to be a hero. Please think for a moment. See this CCTV video. Had you been in such a situation, could you have been able to save a stranger's life? Dining table, children or adults. What has to be done? Just deliver 5 back blows. Perform abdominal thrusts if required. Time for a quick recap now. Sheetal, yes, please match the problem with correct first aid procedure. In case of bleeding, what should be done?
Direct pressure.
Direct
Very
pressure.
right.
Direct pressure.
Choking. In case of choking,
Thirst. Abdominal thirst.
yes. No breathing,
CPR.
CPR. No, heart attack is CPR.
elevate feet, ma'am, should be the answer.
Uh-huh.
Heart attack, you are very right, it's CPR.
CPR.
And in case of shock,
Keep victims still.
still. So we are actually ready to deal with the emergencies because we know the correct first aid procedures. Coming next to eye injuries, again, very common, cuts, dust going to the eyes, any particle in the eye, never ever rub. Wash with cold water. Rush to doctor. Emergencies concerning ear, nose, eye, burns, exposure to chemicals in lab, vomiting, maybe bleeding from a loose tooth are very common in school. We as mothers and adults are actually ready. It comes automatically to us to provide first aid. Only thing is you have to be aware of the basic skills needed before reaching sick room in school or a doctor in case the injury is bad. Sheetal ma'am, next please. Heat exhaustion, believe you me, children playing in the field can also handle. Lay victim down, give water, rush to cool medical bay. Again, pick up the right option, but should be done in this. Which is the worst kind of burn according to you, friends? First degree burn or third degree burn?
Third degree.
You're very right, because first degree only superficial burn has happened. For a particle in the eye, what will you do? Flush with water?
Flush with water. Flush with water. Flush with water.
Nami ma'am, I'm proud of you. For inhalation of vapors or gases, you should induce vomiting or move to fresh air.
Move to fresh air.
Move to fresh air.
Because if you induce vomiting, that means you are making chemicals go twice through the system. So that won't be right. Now coming to another common problem during summers in the school, that is nosebleed. It can be minor because child was picking his or her nose or from getting knocked on while playing. Do not pack the affected nostrils with cotton. Do not bend the head backwards. Don't ask the child to look up. Blood can go to windpipe and can be fatal. Sit down and make the child lean forward. Ask him to pinch the lower part of his nostrils. Let the episode pass and definitely visit to the sick room is a must. Injuries and wounds also are very common in school. It can happen to staff member or it can happen to children anytime. It's actually very natural for children at that time to be upset when they get injured. Reassure them, it's okay. As a first aid provider, you have to just apply mild pressure on the wound with your palm using clean piece of cloth or gauze until the bleeding stops. Clean and apply antiseptic cream. If it is serious or not serious, the anti-tetanus injection is a must. Doctor has to review the extent of injury, not the first aid provider. Coming to sprains, they can be bad. Muscle ligament injuries are painful. They have to be attended to immediately. But what would you do? You will do RICE, that is rest, ice, compression, and elevate. Nowadays, the term we use is PRICE, where P stands for prevent injuries. Staying safe is the mantra. Yes, coming to a fall, a fracture is serious injury. Do not massage the affected area. Do not try to move. Immobilize using a splint or sling. Again, friends, time for a quick quiz. Which one is the basic first aid procedure? Plastering, giving treatment, or applying a band-aid?
Applying a band-aid.
Applying a band-aid. Next, please. If a wasp or bee sting has happened, what will you do? Pull out the stringer, then squeeze venom out, put a band-aid, remove the stringer, then apply some ice, or nothing, it will heal.
I think removing and applying some ice.
Yes, because otherwise, this C option is absolutely right. Squeezing the venom out is going to cause serious damage, and Band-Aid or Dettol is a big no in case of any insect bite. Next, please. RICE stands for Rest Intelligent Cuff, Rest Immobilize Hold Elevation, Run and Rest Hold Energy, Rest Immobilize Hold Energy.
B.
Rest, immobilize, cold, and elevation.
I fully agree with you. B is the option. Next, please. What situation, according to you, will need CPR? A child crying, a child falling from a tree, or a hand burnt
C.
with water? C. As it just speaks for itself. CPR. Actually, more than giving artificial respiration, the pumping has to be there because tissues still have some oxygen. If you can somehow start the heart, then that golden period to save life would be there. Okay, first aid kit. Which item do you think should be there in the first aid kit out of all?
C.
C, a pair of scissors. Yes, that will come very handy. Next, please. Identify which one is the first aid kit.
A1.
Because the global sign for first aid is a white cross against a green background, but normally in India, a red cross sign is being used for first aid. Next, please. When someone is choking, what would you do?
Option
Go
C.
away, do nothing, or give abdominal pulse?
C.
C option.
C option is right. Yes, C is right. How you people said that third degree burn is dangerous. What does a first degree burn look like? Skin is pink, skin has blisters, it has no pain, or it is moist and red.
I think D.
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 Has crystals, as we can all see. And in this case, what would you do? Just put hand under water for a long time so that the heat going down to the skin layers is not going to damage skin any further. And do not rub, just dab. How do you treat a minor cut on your arm? Apply pressure is good enough. Apply pressure, clean the wound and bandage. Sit
A.
down and
Yes.
A.
rest. Right. Very true. Next, please. Coming to the last question. How can someone reduce the risk of cardiovascular disease? Yoga, reducing stress, balanced
All
food, or all of
of
these?
these. D.
All of these.
All of us
All of
are
them.
very well versed, my friends, and that is why we all are very correct in attempting all our answers. Now, if I don't talk about COVID times, if I don't talk about coronavirus threat, I will be failing in my duty. We are marching ahead to normalcy. School is reopening, and we have to learn to stay with the virus by taking safety measures. Masks are effective only if you wear them properly. It should cover, as you can see in the image, your mouth, your nose, and chin, with the colored side facing outwards. Pinch the metal edge of the mask so that it presses gently on your nose bridge. Please see how to do this. Yes, this is the right technique to put on your mask. Do not touch your mask over and over again. It will only cause more harm. We also have a video message to say, do not panic, stay extra vigilant by Mrs. Manisha Arora, TGT English at Balbharti, Noida, who could defeat coronavirus. Sheetal, can I have the video, please?
Hello, friends. Arora, a person like all of you who have been taking precautions against the coronavirus ever since March 2020, often scared, apprehensive, unsure about what the future has in store for us, and at the same time wanting to believe that this virus was afflicting others and we are safe because we are taking all necessary precautions. Well, despite all the precautions, it still struck and caught me off guard. Fever, shortness of breath, patches on lungs, extreme fatigue. I fought it all and proudly call myself a corona defeater. Now, 2 months down the line, I still feel very exhausted, demotivated, depressed, and all the more apprehensive than before. Believe me, it's not just like any other common virus. It's much more and has long lasting effects. We are seeing a downward trend in the number of cases, but that does not mean that we become complacent. The battle is not over yet. We need to continue taking precautions, even the ones who have been infected once. Comments like "tum to free ho gaye, ab to antibodies ban gayi" are not to be taken seriously. It can strike again, although a rare possibility, but not totally impossible. So be extremely meticulous about your hand hygiene, wear a mask whenever you step out of the house, and maintain social distancing. Stay safe, stay blessed.
We all have mastered physical first aid rules and measures we have learned. What about mental first aid? Psychological first aid, it is said. It is called as PFA, It is not only for disaster survivors or for survivors of terrorism. It is the need of the hour. It is a supportive intervention. You are required to immediately provide emotional comfort to the children. Issues with the children, like less marks, friend not talking, may seem very little to you, but they are very disturbing for a sensitive child. Be available, listen actively, be courteous and helpful. Speak politely to the child. Do not try to overpower. Never ever ignore or laugh at the child. When child has shared something with you, do not label the child. Actually, the way we talk to our children become their inner voices. The way we talk about them become their life stories. Adopt wow. Wow, the first W, you are worthy as you are. I will not define you by your marks. I will not label you. I will not judge you by your ability or your background. O stands for you are original. I value your uniqueness, what makes you you, and I will not compare you to others. The W, third W of wow, you are welcome, my child. I accept you as you are. I will not shame you, and I will make sure I give you. With this, I come to an end to this. Any questions that you might have, you're most welcome. When it comes to safety protocol, I will be sharing it again, the link of the website where we have given. Any questions, please, if you have? I'm glad. Now I take the opportunity to propose a vote of thanks on behalf of Mrs. Kritika Shreya and myself, Vidhi Oberoi, on behalf of Bal Bharti Public School, Noida. Our heartfelt gratitude goes out to our principal, Mrs. Asha Prabhakar, whose vision and motivation keeps us propelled to explore new opportunities and expand our horizons. Sincere thanks are due to Vice Principal Mrs. Anupama Motwani for her constant guidance and support. Headmistress Mrs. Amita Ganju, our mentor, for always being there and help us stay on the right track. Thank you to HM Mrs. Vinaya Pujari, Sarika Pase, principals of our sister Bal Bharti schools, for sparing their valuable time for us. A big thank you to all of you, my dear friends from Noida and Sister Bal Bharti units, for being such a wonderful audience. A big thank you to I'm sorry. Sheetal for technical support. Thank you.